I'd had to take a break. I went ahead and worked on the Saab this morning for a few hours, and I was putting it back together. There's a couple areas where I felt like it wasn't connecting properly where those rubber gaskets were on the vehicle, and I felt like more than likely I was going to have to take it apart again to try to get the the vehicle to work properly and not leak. Well, in the process of putting it back together, I got the water pump back on. As I said, I don't feel like it's seated 100% properly because I could actually see the rubber gasket at both locations where it was supposed to connect, which basically means that there's a strong chance that it was going to leak from both of those places. But I decided to go ahead and push forward because I had already made the gasket. I had already put the silicone on there, so I bolted it on in, and then I had moved on to the stage where I needed to tension the um, pulley belt. And basically what occurred was, as I was putting tension on it, the breaker bar with the socket fell off. The socket rolled down the driveway into the street. So basically, after the socket rolled down the driveway into the street, I didn't get frustrated. I just kind of walked over and grabbed the socket, went back, put everything back in place. And when I went to loosen or basically kind of pull back on the tensioner that holds the belt tight in the engine, I realized there was no more tension. So basically, the pulley tensioner component broke during the reinstall. And being that this is a 32-year-old vehicle, it's a 1991 Saab 9000 CD, the non-turbo version. I haven't seen one of those at the junkyard, like pick and pull, for years, especially that year, 91 to 90, I think 2, they all use the same components. And as a result, there's a high chance that I will not be able to replace that uh, tensioner pulley because obviously Saab has gone out of business for a long time now. And that leaves me with paperweight as far as a car. Super discouraging, super frustrating, but these are things that you run into when you try to DIY and do things on your own. The thing that I'm happy about is the fact that I have not been able to find a Saab mechanic for at least 6, 7, possibly 8 years because my Saab is actually an original Swedish model. It's not one that was made after GM purchased Saab and then, obviously they, did away with the brand. So it's an original Swedish model Saab. And I'm happy about the fact that with my DIY skills, I've replaced the hot water heater on that thing, the radiator. I built a fuel line for it, multiple tune-ups, multiple oil changes. I've replaced brake calipers, rotors, brakes, obviously. I actually redid the the top of the inside of the car because the fabric had started to fall down in the cabin. I took that out. I had redone that. I never got around to redoing the portion right there by the moonroof, but the rest of it I had done. I had recovered a lot of the door panels or parts of it because it was not looking even the way that it looks now. And so I had got some vinyl and did that. I did a lot of tinkering with the car. I mean, definitely not professional level stuff, but things that were okay. It was nice experiences. Um, but it's looking like it's possibly the end of the road of the Saab, and I'm not super thrilled about that. If I had more mechanical expertise, I would look into being able to convert it and put a totally different engine transmission in there, but that requires some kind of machinist type of mechanical skills of which I don't possess. So I talked to my wife about it, and possibly either I can just call pick and pull and have them come pick it up, That's one option. Um, the other option is I can hold my breath and keep looking for look for another 91 Saab CD to show up on Pick and Pull's site somewhere within the 100-mile radius, and then I can go and try to get the component off and try to get the car running again. Or, and the option that I'm leaning towards right now is, since we have the space to park it in the driveway, and since it's pretty much, we already paid for the plan, do not operate, I can take this time to learn a lot more about auto mechanics by going ahead and purchasing the engine stand that I was talking about purchasing. I already have an engine hoist, and basically just breaking this car down to smaller components so that I can examine them and try to get a little bit more confidence on, how cars are built. So that would entail, if I do this, definitely pulling the engine, pulling the transmission, going even further as to taking the engine all the way apart down into its smaller components so that I can examine them, look at them, look at where wear and tear has been, and just to give me a better working knowledge of how cars work. And I could even proceed even further into taking apart the dash, taking apart all those components, really just stripping the car down and looking at all the components, just, for my own knowledge. Now, I know Saab is not the same as every brand of car, but having a general knowledge of one brand of car can kind of give me at least a head start on working on any cars that I may purchase into the future. Things that I've learned recently working on the Saab and on my truck is that basically you have to be careful about buying a car that's more than 10 years old, because I went to the Dodge dealership to try to buy some parts for the truck, and I was looking for the whole evap hose and piping system. They sell it as a universal component, and they didn't carry it anymore because it was over 10 years old. And so basically that kind of let me know that, you kind of gambling, you're rolling the dice if you buy a vehicle that's over 10 years old, expecting to be able to find parts for it. Over time, you won't be able to find these parts. So I'm not sure what the end's going to be regarding this situation, but what I do know is it's disappointing. I don't like taking L's. I pride myself in being able to work as hard as I need to work to try to accomplish what I need to accomplish, but I do recognize that failure is a part of life, and failure helps you to, basically learn about what's inside of you deep down and give you the opportunity to get back up and keep fighting. So that's what I'm going to do.